Hello fans, welcome to another episode on my channel. For those who do not know, I am Nick Rabendra, and I am here today to talk to you about the links between an all-time classic, Rime of the Ancient Mariner, with popular texts of our time such as the Fallout series, Pirates of the Caribbean, and Frankenstein. We will be specifically in this video analysing the links between them. Have you ever watched or read a text and gone, that's from somewhere else? Texts throughout history have been influenced and inspired by other texts. The first one I will talk about is the famous video game series Fallout. The Fallout series is centered around a world that has destroyed itself from nuclear war, and the humans that have survived must endure in a barbaric wasteland covered in radiation and nuclear fallout, hence the title of the game. The Great War which destroyed humanity during the Fallout series had a significant connection to the Romantic era and the Enlightenment era, which inspired Coleridge's poem. The series also had a Romantic era approach as it was set in the aftermath of nuclear holocaust, leaving the humans at the mercy of Mother Nature, the nuclear weapons representing artifacts of the scientific and innovative age destroying its creators. It was as if the creators of the series wanted the audience to be aware of the dangers involved in weapon and technological advancement, much like what occurred during the Enlightenment period. Aspects of the Fallout series was inspired by Rime of the Ancient Mariner. Most notably was the achievement and not a drop to drink. In the game, it requires the player to use 100 water items to replenish health. This particular achievement was inspired by Coleridge's stanza illustrating the vast majority of water the mariner was surrounded by, but none was available to drink. This talk of being surrounded by water brings me to the next text that we will be analysing, Pirates of the Caribbean. This text, much like Fallout, also draws significant links from Coleridge's poem, more specifically seen in Dead Man's Chest. The first significant similarity is the game of dice, or liar's dice, as it is referred to in Pirates of the Caribbean. In Coleridge's poem, the mariner bears witness to a ghostly ship appearing, in which he can see the physical embodiment of life and death. On board the ship, he can see both playing a game of dice, determining who lives and who dies. In Pirates of the Caribbean, it has been adapted to suit the film. Will Turner challenges Davy Jones to a game of liar's dice aboard the Flying Dutchman, and instead of the bet involving who lives and dies, like in Coleridge's poem, the two players play for years of service aboard Jones's ship. The second similarity is the resemblance of Davy Jones's crew to the slimy creatures in the poem. Throughout Rime of the Ancient Mariner, the mariner makes reference twice to slimy things, which are sea animals encountered by the mariner during his journey. In Pirates of the Caribbean, Davy Jones and his crew resemble slimy creatures, especially Jones himself. The crew of the Flying Dutchman have chosen to serve aboard it for 100 years rather than face certain death at sea. However, over time, they will take the form of sea creatures. In the film, the crew have significant physical similarities, especially the slimy aspect described in The Ancient Mariner. Perhaps one of the more notable connections throughout the two texts is Davy Jones's ship, the Flying Dutchman, and the ship that housed life and death. In Coleridge's poem, the mariner's punishment for shooting down the albatross is the death of his crew and the immortality he is cursed with. When he is cursed, a ship approaches him and his crew at great speed, in which he saw that it was a ghost ship, manned by life and death. The ship in the poem had bones shaped like ribs for its hull, and a sail that took the form of cobwebs. This was stated in the poem. The ship found in Dead Man's Chest is incredibly similar to the one found in Coleridge's poem. In Pirates of the Caribbean, the Flying Dutchman is captained by Davy Jones, who has enslaved his crew who had died out at sea. The similarities between the two texts are that both ships, the Flying Dutchman and Death Ship, both take human lives. The last connection in Pirates of the Caribbean and Rime of the Ancient Mariner is the striking similarity between Captain Barbossa and the Ancient Mariner. The mariner in Coleridge's poem is haunted by his decision to shoot the albatross while on his ship. It results in a set of horrible tragedies for the mariner, such as the death of his crew and the curse of immortality. This has inspired the creation of Captain Barbossa in Pirates of the Caribbean. Captain Barbossa, in Curse of the Black Pearl, decides to steal a chest of Aztec gold, which then curses him and the crew that stole it into the living dead that appear human in the day but are skeletons at night. The similarity between the Mariner and Captain Barbossa is that both paid with their lives for their disastrous mistakes. Only Barbossa is cursed to the living dead, while the Mariner is cursed with immortality. There are also some key similarities between Pirates of the Caribbean and the Fallout series. The most significant, throughout all texts outlined in this video, is the sense of mystery in discovering the unknown. In Fallout, the character that is available places the player in a completely foreign environment, a post-apocalyptic world. Pirates of the Caribbean also create an adventurous and mysterious theme as it follows Jack Sparrow through the treacherous waters of the ocean facing off Davy Jones and his semi-human crew. Protagonists battling inhuman creatures. We see quite a lot of it with entertainment nowadays. This brings me on to the last text we'll be analysing, which is Frankenstein. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein was significantly influenced by Samuel Coleridge's lyrical ballad, Rime of the Ancient Mariner, to a high extent as there were significant connections between the two. When Mary Shelley was growing up, Samuel Coleridge was good friends with her father and were frequent visitors to their household. Coleridge and Shelley's father shared similar beliefs in the fact that they were very pro-democratic and against centralised power. Both would have long and meaningful conversations which Shelley would secretly listen into. When Coleridge was visiting, he would recite Rime of the Ancient Mariner regularly, which impacted Shelley greatly. There were significant similarities that Shelley included in Frankenstein that were inspired by Coleridge and his poem. The first and possibly most obvious connection is the theme of voyaging into the unknown. In Frankenstein, Robert Walton, a 28-year-old sea captain, writes at the start of the novel to his sister about the departure of his long and perilous journey to the North Pole. Since both were written during the late 1700s and the early 1800s, the Romantic period would have had a significant influence on the style and background of their stories. The Romantic period placed a huge emphasis on the preservation and care for nature, while also exploring the unknown. Victor Frankenstein explored the unknown by testing and creating a monster. Therefore, Rime of the Ancient Mariner and Frankenstein share the similarity of dangerous sea voyages and exploration. The second connection between the two texts was the drug addictions between Victor Frankenstein and Samuel Coleridge. Coleridge took great interest in opium, a medicinal plant, which later turned into an unhealthy addiction. His opium addiction possibly started when he developed an illness in 1790, when he was required to take laudanum. Shelley was influenced by this and had the main character, Victor Frankenstein, become addicted to opium in order for him to sleep. In most instances, it only made his addiction worse. The third similarity was that both protagonists became horrified with their actions. In Shelley's novel, Victor Frankenstein became horrified in what he had created. He had planned to create a beautiful creature out of inanimate body parts, but instead had produced a horrifying monster. He then fled from his creation in hope to forget, as he was so shocked in what he had done. In Coleridge's poem, the mariner was haunted by his action in shooting the albatross which destroyed his ship and crew. Frankenstein also shares the common similarity of mystery and discovery, unlike the two previous texts, Pirates of the Caribbean and Fallout. Frankenstein, however, has a heavier sense of mystery and a greater feel for discovering the unknown, as Victor Frankenstein created a monster out of human body parts which had never been thought of. Unlike Fallout and Pirates of the Caribbean, Frankenstein places the readers in an unthinkable scenario, creating an unpredictable and uncertain atmosphere. Rime of the Ancient Mariner has inspired popular texts of our time, such as Fallout, Pirates of the Caribbean, and Frankenstein. As we have seen, Fallout took a Romantic era approach to man's creation of highly destructive weapons by making them survive after the destruction of their civilization. They further created an achievement after Coleridge's stanza, called "And Not a Drop to Drink." Pirates of the Caribbean have multiple key connections to Rime of the Ancient Mariner. Liar's Dice, Davy Jones, The Flying Dutchman, and Captain Barbossa all have significant links to Coleridge's poem. Mary Shelley, the author of Frankenstein, was another author influenced by Samuel Coleridge and his poem. When she was younger, Coleridge would come over and regularly recite Rime of the Ancient Mariner, giving Shelley a heavy exposure to Romantic era handiwork. Consequently, she included several links throughout Frankenstein, such as voyaging into the unknown, Victor's drug addiction, and how horrified Victor was with his actions. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and tune in for next week's video, where we will look at the intertextual links between Call of Duty and Battlefield.